Yes, Ali, one of the things I've brought you in the studio for is,
Okay.
we keep having this conversation. We've been on the phone several times,
Yeah.
and we've been talking quite deep about a lot of things. And one of the things I've found is that there's a lot of, it's not about honesty, I think it's like a lack of bravery for people to speak up.
Mm.
And so we dance around stuff, as everyone on the left, everyone on the right, and that's one of the things where we need to talk. It's about, okay, can we be brave enough to have this conversation that no one wants to have? Especially around race, especially around, my thing is we're all brothers and sisters, but regardless of that, that might be what I believe, but at the same time...
Do everybody else believe that?
Exactly, a lot of people don't have those thoughts or feel the same way about it. So let's just stick to race and let's talk about, let's talk about us at this point in time as being different races, blah, 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 we're all part of the human race. Let's just go around, dance around nonsense. Alright?
Yeah.
And I just want to say, we're talking about the black communities, especially today. That's one of the things I want to go into.
Okay.
A conversation which is difficult to talk about, but necessary.
Okay.
So first question. We have a problem with youth violence in the black community.
Okay.
What do you attribute this to?
A lot of the factors that have plagued black people all through the history of time, I'd say, but more towards the factors of the way that the world is going towards now with technology, like the rise of the internet, but also as well, I think a lot of the kind of, what am I looking for? The rules, the moral rules that we had when we was younger, growing up, have now differed a lot. I feel a lot now in regards to the generation before, just after me, haven't been able to instill those old traditional methods in which are important. I feel that a lot of parents now, ranging from around 35 to 40, still in that kind of mode of where their children can assimilate to. Their children are no different from the adults that they look up to, and so the respect level's not there no more, like it used to be when I was growing up.
Do you mean it's kind of lost the original culture?
Yeah,
Where
definitely
did that culture come from? That culture come from the Caribbean, that come from Africa. Where did that culture come from?
It's the culture of diaspora. It's the culture of all the Afro and Caribbeans that basically came over, in the 50s, the Africans more in the early 70s and so forth. And that's what's amalgamated to the culture that we have now. But in saying that, the culture's now changed, and that's due to technology, as I said before. But also, I think the lines have been blurred between parents and children. I see a lot of parents still have the same mentality and still the same kind of concepts as the younger ones. Maybe that's our fault for not teaching them more. But once again, with the way that technology is and the way culture is at the moment, I think everything gets speeded up so fast now, and everything's just about getting things now. We want everything now, such as like an immediate age, so to speak. So there's a lot of issues regarding how children are brought up these days, which plays a massive factor, and towards the music that we listen to as well. And music is a big, massive factor towards how children act.
Well, can I say something to you? There was I spoke to a guy, as I said, I'm talking to you, but I'm speaking to lots of other people who have a lot to say as well. And there was a guy that I spoke to, and he said that it's basically what's happened is that we're not actually parenting our children anymore. The state is parenting our children. So, whether it's the welfare state, whatever it may be, that the state is parenting our children.
Because what's happened is the state is taking the authority out of the parents' hands, so to speak. And now parents are more inclined to leave it to the authorities to look after their children. And discipline their children.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah, and discipline their kids. Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, the only way that you can gain authority is from the parent. It can't be from outside sources. Not real actual parenting, not real actual.
So you're saying is it about respect? Is that because they have to respect the kid has to respect their parents, otherwise.
Yeah, if there's no respect from the parents,
within the home,
then whose respect are they giving it to? And obviously we can talk about the gangs and so forth, and how a lot more children are more inclined to join up with gangs because they don't have that bond with their parents these days, and they're looking for that father figure, so to speak, or that mother, but usually they're all in the same kind of pool.
Isn't that, you talk about father figure, isn't that going to be more kind of, down to single parent families rather than families with
but I would come from a single
the
parent
nuclear
family.
families, they say.
Yeah, I come from a single parent family. My mum was my mum and my dad. And, I'm not trying to put it like I'm a shining example, but a lot of the teachers that my mum gave me from young have been instilled from me now. And if you don't have that as you're growing up and you're learning from, say, your peers and your elders, then unfortunately you're going to have a very myopic kind of understanding towards what life's about and also what you believe in yourself. Very narrow-minded these kids are these days. They don't have a very broad opinion or wider their actual setting, so to speak, in regards to what they want to achieve and what life's about, So we have a massive issue.
When we look at Stormzy, who's just really kind of, obviously he's doing fantastically well. Does he come from a single parent family? Is he from a nuclear family?
I think he comes from a single parent family. Don't quote me on that. I know that he's got a sister, so he's got siblings. I know that he came from Fulton Heath, which is an area of which there's a lot of crime that goes on. But I do understand that you listen to Stormzy, he's very much, you can see that his mother's instilled in him certain traditional traits in him.
So it's about having a strong mother. Whatever it is, your mother.
Strong.
If you are from a single parent family, your mother has to take on the role of your father too.
Yeah.
But look,
it's hard, I suppose.
But what can we do? Because obviously Stormzy's come up, he's very successful. Not everyone could be a Stormzy.
No.
You know that. So what solutions are there? What can we do to change it? How can we improve our lot, as they say?
Improving our lot. That's a very hard question. The educational system, once again, I'll always go towards. Children need to know about their history, not just history regarding the UK and Britain and so forth, but know their actual history before slavery, which is really important. Because we're always starting off at the rung of the ladder. So we need to get that self-importance and that self-knowledge and belief within ourselves, because we're always trying to compete all the time and we're not understanding the importance and the beauty of who we are as being quoted black, so to speak. I don't like that word, but we just need to try and find more understanding in regards to who we are as human beings more in general.
Yeah, so in other words, that a lot of us have lost our way.
We're lost.
We've been taught, especially diaspora, emigrated to the UK. Clearly, I know from my own upbringing, definitely my teachers didn't really care about my understanding of who I was, and they didn't really do anything to help me with a lot of things. You make a mistake, you just push to the back of the queue, kind of thing. So, and it was always, when you made a mistake, you were the problem child, and therefore it was all about you were making a problem that was going to, influence the white kids, as it were.
Yeah.
So it was all about trying to protect the white kids. The black kids, were problems, and the white kids were the good kids, and that was how it was felt, and that was for me at school.
Very much like that in school, man. I'll tell you, like in my year, we had we didn't have many black male kids, but a lot of black females in my year. I think there was about 8 or 9 or so black males in my class. Well, not my class, but within the whole of the actual 4 sets of groups that we had within our year. I was the only black kid, and I never realised it until I looked at a school photo, and I was the only black male within the whole of my